A bird weighs less than a bag of sugar. A plane on takeoff moves at 180 miles per hour. At that speed, the impact of a single bird equals the force of a cannonball. Over 13,000 bird strikes are reported every year in the US alone. Most are survivable. A cracked windscreen, a dented nose. Everyone lands safely. But sometimes the birds hit both engines at the same moment. These are 12 of those moments. Every detail, every second, every decision. Every plane crash caused by bird strike explained. January 15th, 2009. 3:27 in the afternoon. LaGuardia Airport, New York. US Airways Flight 1549 lifts off runway 4. Airbus A320, 155 people on board. 90 seconds after takeoff, climbing through 2,818 feet. A flock of Canada geese. Both engines ingest birds at the exact same moment. Engine 1 surges and goes silent. Engine 2 goes silent 3 seconds later. The aircraft is now a 77-ton glider over one of the most populated cities on Earth. Captain Chesley Sullenberger takes manual control. The tower offers 2 runways. Sullenberger doesn't answer. He already knows neither runway is reachable. He calculates the Hudson River. 3 miles west. Exactly enough glide altitude. Maybe. At 3:29 p.m., 208 seconds after the bird strike, the aircraft touches the Hudson at 150 knots. Perfectly wings level, nose slightly up. Every passenger survives. August 15th, 2019. Zhukovsky Airport, Moscow. 6:15 in the morning. Ural Airlines Flight 178. Airbus A321. 233 people. Climbing out of the runway. At low altitude, the aircraft flies directly into a flock of yellow-legged gulls. Both engines ingest birds. Both lose thrust almost simultaneously. The pilots have a critical decision. Attempt a U-turn back to the runway or go straight ahead. They are too low and too slow to turn. The runway is now behind and above them. Ahead, a cornfield, flat, open, no trees, no buildings. The crew sets the aircraft down in the corn at 140 knots. The aircraft slides through the crop and stops. 74 people are injured. Not one is killed. November 10th, 2009. Ryanair Flight 4102 on final approach into Rome Ciampino. The aircraft enters a dense flock of European starlings at low altitude. Engine number 1 ingests multiple birds. It surges, catches fire, and fails. The crew declares a mayday and makes an emergency landing on runway 15. The aircraft lands, but it cannot stop within the available runway length. It overruns the end of the runway, crosses a grass strip, and strikes a concrete blast wall. The aircraft catches fire on contact. 26 people are injured. No one is killed. October 4th, 1960. Logan International Airport, Boston. 5:40 in the evening. Eastern Airlines Flight 375. A Lockheed L-188 Electra. Lifting off over Boston Harbor. At low altitude, the aircraft passes through a large flock of European starlings. 3 of the 4 engines ingest birds simultaneously. All three fail within seconds of each other. The aircraft crashes into Boston Harbor. 62 people are killed. 10 survive. November 23rd, 1996. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 is hijacked 45 minutes after takeoff. 3 hijackers demand the pilot fly to Australia. He explains the aircraft has only 3 hours of fuel. They don't believe him. He flies on. For 3 hours and 40 minutes, until both engines flame out. Now a glider over the Indian Ocean, the pilot aims for a beach near the Comoros Islands. On approach, a large pelican strikes the aircraft. The aircraft drifts left toward the reef. The left wing catches the water, it cartwheels and breaks apart. 125 people are killed. 50 survive. The crash was captured on video by multiple tourists. March 2020, Tokyo Haneda Airport. A Japan Airlines Boeing 777-200 departing on a scheduled route. On takeoff, a single large bird, species never confirmed, strikes the number 2 engine. The engine suffers severe internal damage. Fan blades shatter. The aircraft declares an emergency. It returns to Haneda and lands safely. 0 injuries. 0 fatalities. The engine is pulled from the aircraft. Damage assessment: 180 million yen. Approximately 1.3 million US dollars. February 7th, 2000. Hurghada International Airport, Egypt. A Condor Boeing 757 beginning its takeoff roll. At approximately 170 knots, the aircraft strikes a flock of birds. Engine number 1 fails immediately. The crew faces the hardest decision in aviation: abort at high speed or continue on one engine. They abort. Thrust reversers deploy. Maximum braking applied. At 170 knots, a fully loaded 757 requires every available meter of runway to stop. They run out of runway. The aircraft exits onto the desert sand beyond the threshold. 5 people suffer minor injuries. No fatalities. The sand dissipates what the tarmac couldn't. 2023. Sochi International Airport, Russia. A Pobeda Airlines Boeing 737 on approach. A bird strike occurs during the landing phase. Engine damage is confirmed. An emergency is declared. The aircraft lands safely. Passengers deplane on the runway. No fatalities. This incident occurred in 2023. 63 years after the Boston Harbor crash that changed aviation forever. 2002, British Columbia, Canada. A Whistler Air Commuter turboprop in cruise flight. A single large bird strikes the cockpit windscreen. The windscreen shatters. Bird remains, debris and glass enter the cockpit at speed. The pilot is struck by glass and debris. He is bleeding and his vision is compromised. The co-pilot takes control and navigates the aircraft to an emergency landing. All passengers and crew land safely. The pilot requires surgery. September 22nd, 1995. Elmendorf Air Force Base, Anchorage, Alaska. An annual air power demonstration. AB-52 Stratofortress performs a low-level pass at approximately 250 feet above ground. During the maneuver, the aircraft flies into a flock of Canada geese at low altitude. Multiple engines ingest birds. The aircraft immediately begins an uncontrolled roll to the left. At 250 feet, there is no altitude available to recover. The B-52 impacts the ground 2 miles from the airshow crowd. All 24 people on board are killed instantly. The crash is partially witnessed by thousands of spectators. November 15th, 1977. Göteborg Airport, Sweden. Linjeflyg Flight 618 beginning its departure roll. A Fokker F-28 fellowship jet. 64 passengers and crew on board. During the takeoff roll, a single herring gull is ingested into the left engine. The engine catches fire. The crew aborts the takeoff and declares an emergency. During the emergency stop, the nose landing gear collapses. The aircraft veers off the runway. The aircraft comes to rest in the grass and catches fire. 1 person is killed. 21 are injured. Cairo International Airport is the busiest airport in Africa. It also sits directly beneath the East African West Asian Flyway, one of the world's 3 major bird migration corridors. Every year, approximately 500 million birds pass over Egypt during the spring and autumn migrations. 2010. A Cairo aviation charter aircraft begins its takeoff roll on a routine departure. A dense migratory flock passes across the departure path. Multiple birds enter the engine. Engine fire. Emergency declared. The aircraft returns to Cairo and overruns during landing. No fatalities. The aircraft is written off, a total structural loss.